Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We would like to deliver a presentation entitled Social Media Interconnection Between People, Greta Thunberg's Influence Towards Climate Movement. Our team consists of Septantogram Prakoso, Im Fatima, and myself, Andriansyah Perdana Mutiantoro. Let's begin the presentation. Humans have run their activities throughout the centuries without any long-term environmental danger looming over them. But time has changed. Since the Industrial Revolution, humans' economic activity has significantly transformed. With this rapid growth of economic activity, industrial sectors are becoming diversified. Some of them are telecommunication sectors, pharmaceuticals, and technology. But behind all of these industrial advantages, several downsides could affect the ecological aspects of the Earth ecosystem, such as the greenhouse effect, rise of the Earth's temperature, and the ice melting in the two poles of the Earth. In response to this problem, a young girl from Sweden named Greta Thunberg made her move by skipping school and protested. Greta first caught the public attention when she began her solitary school strike outside the Swedish Parliament building in Stockholm in 2018. Her first action was sitting in front of the parliament for 3 weeks to get the politicians' engagement in tackling climate change. But her strike does not seem to attract the politician interest. Well, after several times, the strikes for climate change are becoming even more famous, and many youth from all around the world were inspired by the Greta protests and to seek to do the same thing. Uh, the large involvement of people in joining Greta Thunberg is occurred due to the interconnection between people through social media and the common concerns among the youth regarding the climate change. Therefore, the study aims to analyze how a single individual, Greta Thunberg, can affect public opinion throughout the world about climate movement using social media. This research uses and offers a perspective about how youth are using social media while protesting and what kind of reaction their protest generates from other members of society. Social media platforms are transforming political engagement by offering agency through the ability to voice political views. And this research also uses the data record from Twitter about Greta Thunberg movement. This research also uses social activism concept. This concept is a group of people who have a common goal and just want to make several changes according to their belief when the social structure of the governmental system of society has become more ruined and no longer functioning in human life. Social activism is an instrument of socialization in society. It shows how people can organize themselves, how can they protest, the degree of involvement in decisions and social life. For example, the Arab Spring, it can be done transnationally and internationally.
Well, there are several types of social activism. The first one is the activism that demands solution to contemporary problems. The second one is activism that manifests itself through the creation of alternatives to the dominant system. The third is the activism that seek new alternatives within societies. And the last one is revolutionary activism that concerns with a fundamental change. Next. We also use the collaborative internet utilities that first pointed out by Jonathan Stevens. This term is used to explain how individual or a group of people express their concern, their thoughts, and feelings through internet about crucial things, and it attracts general reactions and opinions. People who agree will eventually support to achieve their goals and ideas. What Greta Thunberg has done is exactly how this term show from a lone protest in front of the Swedish Parliament to a widespread discussion through the social media. Her action has inspired many people and sparked public discussion. It later followed by many actions by youth over the world. Next. Well, this research also, the discussion appears from this research is how the strike from the youth is also causing a conflictual interest between the youth and the adults. Adults represented by the global leaders and gigantic corporations has always had a goal of gradual economic growth, which eventually has do harm to our environment because the use of non-renewable energy. And while on the other side, the youth movement seeks and demands the government to make a more effort in pointing out the stop of global warming and climate change. Uh, the spread of information about Greta strike is moving to a global trend, while so many people have the access to see and to know what she's doing through the social media. And this is how the internet activism has had the effect of causing increased collective action among people. Next.
Thank you, Ms. Im. To continue what she said about the discussion and results from this research, we can see that basically what we're trying to elaborate here is how interconnection through social media can also use to raise awareness, can also use to raise an issue about environment cases and things that we should consider because it will affect our future greatly. So here we can see that the effect of Greta's movement is happening not only in Sweden, but also in other countries, in other parts of the world, just like in Poland, where several Polish students choose to not attend classes and just holding strikes towards the politicians and people who are responsible for environmental policy in their country. And also in other parts of the world, they also create the Fridays for Future movement. So basically they refuse to go to school on Friday and holding a protest instead. So this basically we can see that the effect of Greta's movement is already reached the global scale, and it proves that there are interconnection through social media onto certain issues, in this case environmental and climate change issues, throughout it, and it can be done basically. However, this kind of movement of school protests, school strikes, it's now being criticized. There are also subjects of people that don't agree with this kind of protest because they accuse this protest maybe being too politicized, or there are people behind it, people that have motivation, there are certain interests to put their political agenda inside of this kind of protest, because basically this protest is against the world leaders, the people that runs the world economic. So basically this kind of like a pro-environmentalist protest has been like in the spotlight of controversies. However, it's also being critics, also being critiqued by the school committee, the parents of the students, basically people that are stakeholders, people that are actually concerned about the students' life themselves, because students supposed to study, not just run into the streets wildly protesting lividly. So basically, this is actually has undergone a positive and negative side, just like between the interest between the young and adult side, like the previous presenter already said. Next is the conclusion of this study. So basically, we see that climate change is happening and it's a defining issue that will determine the quality of our future. That's actually already for certain. And despite various global agreements that bind countries like treaties or conference that put more effort in handling the issue, many also see that those kind of things are just like jargon, just like something that is not taken seriously by the world leaders themselves, the governments, big companies create this kind of emission and pollutions. And basically some people see that we need a trigger of events that can create more awareness towards climate change, towards environmental issues. That's basically what's done by Greta using the social media platforms, especially Twitter. She spread the concerns by protesting. She spread the concerns to people across the world. And basically we see this from social activism theory and collaborative interactive concept. The more mass join a cause, the better chance it can bring up the issues that politicians and stakeholders can notice it. So basically, it can be understood that interconnection between people can happen with a certain prior treatment. We can move people, we can design people, we can influence people to fight for certain issues that can be brought up. And basically, Greta has done this, and it should not be taken lightly, the social activism. We can create a huge impact and to correspond to certain issue in the world, especially environmental issues. That's all for our presentation. Thank you very much.